If you're looking for somewhere new to explore, then consider an Xbox Game Pass membership your first-class ticket to all kinds of weird and wonderful places. Here are some of the biggest open worlds on Xbox Game Pass.
Compared to some of the other absolute behemoths on this list, the world of Skyrim isn't absurdly large, measuring in at a gentlemanly 14 square miles. In fact, it isn't technically even the largest in the Elder Scrolls series, with that honor going to the 63,000 square miles of Daggerfall. But even all these years later, there are still few places that feel as dauntingly huge or as enticingly mysterious as Skyrim. The further you wander off the beaten track in this acclaimed action RPG, the more you'll discover. All sorts of wildlife, new enemies, hidden dungeons, and unique characters are littered all throughout its cragged mountains and dense forests. And then there are the chance encounters involving headless horsemen, dueling wizards, and gourmet chefs, which can occur if you happen upon the right spot at the right time. All in all, Skyrim is a place you can spend hundreds of hours in without feeling like you've seen all it has to offer, which is probably why we're all still so obsessed with it.
But if you prefer to move with a little more horsepower than an Elder Scrolls Stallion can provide, Xbox Game Pass also comes with a bunch of great places to take a drive, like Paradise City. While the series had always been beloved for its kinetic brand of arcade racing, Burnout Paradise decided to give its players a little more room to breathe by switching to an open world location. That means you still get all the fun of plowing into another vehicle at 300 miles per hour in a car that costs more than a house, but you also get to spend some time just cruising around on the over 200 miles worth of drivable road which the game contains. And this concrete cartopia is looking better than ever in the remastered version of Burnout Paradise, where you can tear through the streets in up to 4K and 60 FPS.
Debuting on Xbox Game Pass last year, Forza Horizon 5 was easily one of the gaming highlights of 2021. And even if you've been rolling around its Mexican landscape all that time, there's probably still a bunch of stuff you haven't seen yet. That's because this is the series' biggest game world by a significant margin, roughly 1.5 times bigger than the one in Forza Horizon 4, and weighing in at around 41 square miles all told. So you're really not going to run out of road anytime soon. And it actually feels even bigger thanks to the incredible diversity of its landscapes. One minute you're plummeting down the side of a volcano, and the next you're battering your way through a rainforest or sliding coolly around a seaside town. In any case, the scenery always looks fantastic, especially in glistening 4K on the Xbox Series X, or with the smooth 60 FPS performance mode found on both next-gen machines.
Clocking in at around 45 square miles, Dragon Age Inquisition is exactly the sort of massive world that fantasy fans love to immerse themselves in. The largest game in the series to date, Inquisition's sprawling realm has been torn apart by politics, and also, in a more literal sense, by the giant hole in the sky, which keeps spewing demons all over the place. So it's got a lot of character. The best thing about the land of Thedas, though, is the way it responds to your journey through it. Your epic quest to save the world will see you making friends as well as enemies, picking sides and discussing diplomacy in a way that often has a tangible effect on the world around you. Although, at least if you really tick someone off, you've got another 44 square miles to hide from them in.
DayZ is another game set in a world where things aren't exactly going to plan. A mysterious plague has turned much of the population into zombies, spoiler alert, that's what the Z stands for, and left the rest to pretty much figure things out for themselves. The good news is that the fictional country of Chernorus, where the game takes place, gives you plenty of room to work with, dropping you down into an 87 square mile open world that's just bursting with resources, equipment, and opportunities. And the undead, obviously. Setting a survival game in such a vast space forces you to plan each move you make carefully. There's no point in setting out on an epic zombie-bashing quest only to find yourself in the middle of nowhere without any food or resources. If you've ever wondered how you would fare in a zombie apocalypse scenario, DayZ is as close as you'll get to the real thing. I hope.
Set on the fictional South American island of Solace, Just Cause 4 features a whopping 395 square miles of open world for the player to explore. It includes a wide variety of different biomes, from snow-covered mountains to arid deserts, so you'll always be able to find a nice change of scenery while you're playing. Plus, the weather is somewhat temperamental, so there's always a nice hurricane or sandstorm rolling through to keep you on your toes, or off your feet completely. But the best thing about Just Cause 4's humongous world is all the crazy ways you can go traveling across it. You can crash through the speed limit in a supercar before bailing out and grapple hooking your way up onto a helicopter, take that for a little joyride, and then bail out and shoot off somewhere else using your personal jet-powered wingsuit. How's that for a commute? Getting around is so much fun that you just might end up covering all 395 square miles after all.
There can be no mistaking the size of Microsoft Flight Simulator's world because it's the world, isn't it? All 197 million square miles of our little blue ball are there for you to go swooping over. With Microsoft Flight Simulator using Bing Maps and a little bit of photogrammetry magic to realistically model the whole darn planet. We're talking whole petabytes of data here, which the game uses cloud technology to stream in while you're flying. Oh, and speaking of clouds, it can even provide realistic weather so that the skies you're soaring through are just like their real-life counterparts. And when you're finally ready to come down, you'll find some 37,000 real-life airports ready and waiting for you to touch down in. If you're looking to show off the power of your new Xbox Series X or S, throw on Microsoft Flight Simulator and watch it conjure up the whole darn planet.
Minecraft gives you an entire world you can quite literally do what you like with, whether that's exploring its vast and actually quite creepy caverns, or tearing it all down to build your own home, or say a statue in your honor, like this delightful one right here. But that begs the question, whether playing online multiplayer or solo, how do we never run out of blocks to mine? The short answer is that the world of Minecraft is freaking massive, like 1.5 billion square miles massive, like 8 times the size of the actual planet we actually live on massive, just super massive. In fact, it's so big that there's even a project called Build the Earth, which is attempting to create an exact one-to-one replica of our whole world within the game. I mean, why not? There's certainly room for it. So with that in mind, whether you're building up to the heavens, into the ground, or along the horizon, don't worry about extending your dream castle or your mega fort an extra few blocks. We promise that even if you're online, no one is going to mind.
Lots of games have tried to recreate the sense of boundless possibility that comes from gazing at the stars, but none have done it quite like No Man's Sky. This stunning space adventure game contains 255 unique galaxies and a total of 18 quintillion individual planets. That's a stupidly huge number, so for context, it's almost impossible to put into square miles, but if you hot-footed it around the universe at a rate of 1 planet per second, it would still take you around 600 billion years to visit them all. So maybe put the kettle on first. And since they're procedurally generated, you never know what sort of bizarre creatures, strange plants, or deadly conditions you might encounter on each one, especially when you might be the very first player to ever set foot there. All in all, it's a gorgeous universe to explore, especially in 4K 60 on the Xbox Series X. It's daunting to think that you'll never see a fraction of a game's full universe, but it also means that every single player's journey through No Man's Sky is totally unique to them.
You could easily spend the rest of your year exploring any one of these vast and vibrant game worlds, and Xbox Game Pass gets you access to them all, so get exploring. And for more handy hints on getting the most out of your Xbox Game Pass membership, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell. Bye!